Hey everybody, Carla with Carla's Clever Crafts. Going to be doing another St. Patrick's Day design today. I'm going to be using this sign again. I did an extra large wreath, a 35-inch wreath with this sign, but today I have 3 of these, so I wanted to do a smaller design in a size that is more popular with my customers. So that's what we're going to be working on. Give me a second to get my comments loaded in and we'll get started. This is taking a little longer this time. I can go ahead and go over the base that we're using and show you how I wired the base. I'm using the 14-inch wireframe from the Dollar Tree. I use this for a lot of my mesh wreaths. This ring has, it's 14 inches wide. It has 4 different rings all the way around, and it has 6 sections. A section is considered between each of these crossbars. So this would be 1 section, and it has a total of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections all the way around. To wire my frame for the cruffle method that I'm using today, I put 3 pipe cleaners in each section. I'll go ahead and show you. I've got 1 section left here that's undone. I'll go ahead and show you how I do that. I always start with the inside pipe cleaner on the inside 2 rings. I try to get in the middle as close as I can between these 2 crossbars. So you just feed your pipe cleaner underneath the 2 rings. Line them up the best that you can to make them as even as possible. And then when I twist my knot, I always twist my knot over this inside ring. If you twist it over here, it's going to leave your pipe cleaner wobbly, and when you add your materials, you're going to have instability in your wreath design. So twist over the inside ring always, pull tight so your pipe cleaners don't slide and move around. And then once you get the middle one, then you're going to come to the outside 2 rings, and you're going to go halfway between the pipe cleaner that you just put on and this crossbar and try to get it as in the middle.
It was from outside.
Oh, thank you. A beautiful flower. Thank you so much.
It's yellow.
My grandson brought me a flower. That was super sweet. Okay. I'm going to repeat the same process. Line up your pipe cleaners. Center it the best you can. Pull tight. Again, put your knot across the inside ring that you're working on. And then when I do my pipe cleaners, I always fold the ones on the inside ring to the inside and the ones on the outside ring to the outside. That just helps me whenever I'm adding my materials. It kind of keeps these out of my way. So for the 3rd pipe cleaner in this section, we're going to come to the other side on the outside 2 rings and do the same thing. Center between the crossbar and the middle pipe cleaner the best you can. Line up your 2 ends. Pull tight and knot it across the inside ring that you're working on, and then just push those down out of your way. So when you get done adding all of your sections, you'll have 12 pipe cleaners on the outside 2 rings and 6 pipe cleaners on the inside 2 rings. When we start our design, which I've already pre-started for us, so the video, it doesn't take us as long to complete it in the video, but I'll show you everything that I've already done. We're only going to be working on these outside 12 to start with. So keep that in mind. We're not going to do anything with these 6 on the inside, so just leave them to the inside out of your way, and we're going to work on these 12 on the outside first. I'm going to take a second and see if my comments will load again. In my last live video, it worked really fast, and then this time it doesn't seem to want to load. there we go. Let's see if we can just get it to come up. Oops, I might have clicked too many times. Let's see if that does it. Okay, so like I said, I had already started this design to give us a head start. I left a section here so I can show you what I did to get to this point. The first thing that we're going to work with, the first thing I always work with on these Cruffle Method mesh wreaths is my first layer of mesh. And again, we start only on the pipe cleaners on the outside, so the 12 on the outside. And here I am rotating between a black and white buffalo check and a light green. And I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way around the wreath. And I'll show you how we do the Cruffle Method. Our last one here is the light green. So we need to come in next with one of these black and white. This is a 10-inch mesh. It is buffalo check, black and white buffalo check. It is from Craft Outlet. Oh, it's all tangled up. Let me go ahead and separate these real quick. All of my mesh pieces on this wreath design are cut to 16 to 17 inches. Okay, so we're going to just lay our piece of mesh out. And I'm going to use something to hold down that end so that I can demonstrate for you. We're going to fold over the first piece and use our pinkies to hold the ends down, and then we're going to roll it 2, 3, 4 times. Use a clip or a clothespin or something like that to hold our curl in place so that we can turn it around away from us, and then do the same thing on the other end. Fold it over, 2, 3, 4. It'll look like this. We're going to turn those 2 curls face down, and then we're going to scrunch right down the middle, small sections at a time. Pinch the 2 sides together and take our clip off. It'll look like a little bow. And then on the base layer of the mesh, this first layer that we're doing now, I put the finished edges to the outside and the inside. And we want to pull this pipe cleaner very tight, because we want this base layer of mesh to be very secure. So pull tight and give it a couple twists, and then you're ready to go to your next one. Open it up and get it ready to put your cruffle in. And since we did the black and white, now we're going to do the lime green. This mesh came from bbcrafts.com. Okay. And then we're going to do the same process. Fold it over. Use our pinkies to hold the ends down. 2, 3, 4. Turn it around away from us. Same thing on the other end. 2, 3, 4. Scrunch it down the middle. Pinch the 2 sides together and take our clip off. Lay it in the same way. Finish edge to the outside and the inside. Laying our mesh in this way gives us an overall wreath design of 24 to 25 inches. Okay, now we have one more to do to finish off our bottom row of mesh. So just open up your pipe cleaner. We have 2 greens here, so we know we need a black and a white. Hey, honey. Okay. So we're just gonna roll 2, 3, 4. Put our clip. This mesh curls up on itself too, especially when you get to the inner part of the roll that you cut it on. So using something to weight down the one side can be helpful in that situation where it's curling up on you. Okay, place it in the same way. Remember to pull this pipe cleaner really tight. We want this mesh really secure because it's forming the base of our entire design. And then once we put this last piece in, you can see how consistently these are all laying the same way, and then this one is kind of just stuck on the top. Way to avoid that and keep your pattern consistent is to reach underneath here and pull the piece of mesh to the right of the last piece you place in out over top. By doing that, now our pattern is consistent. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start working with our ribbons, our first layer of ribbons. And I started with this black and white pattern. Our sign has black and white in it, so I decided to use some black and white for contrast. I'm not sure what to call this pattern, but I got this at craftoutlet.com. It's 1.5 inch ribbon. And the first thing we do, we cut all of our pieces of ribbon to 12 inches. And when we get them to 12 inches, we're going to dovetail the end. Oh, here they are. To dovetail, you fold it in half the way that I just did long ways. We're going to cut at an angle from the folded side to the wired side, an upward angle. Okay, and then when we open it up, we have that pretty V pattern to give us a nice finished edge on all of our ribbons. And then for this black, I wanted to use 6-inch pieces all the way around my base of the same ribbon. So to do that, I had originally cut these, I cut 6 of them to 12 inches long. Then to get my 6-inch pieces, I just fold them in half, line up the ends as close as you can get them, crease down here, and then I just cut right along that crease. And then that gives me my 6-inch pieces. You will do that with 6 of these for this particular design. So you're going to have 6 12-inch pieces, cut them in half. That will give you a total of 12 6-inch pieces. Okay, so then I always lay in my 6-inch pieces first, all the way around my design. In this case, I use the same pattern. Sometimes I will rotate different colors, different patterns or designs, but this time I'm using the same ribbon for my 6-inch piece all the way around. And I'll show you. I have the 6-inch black and white 6-inch all the way around. So we don't have to worry about alternating or remembering our pattern. We just need to come into each pipe cleaner. And then you've got one flat edge on your 6-inch pieces. So you're just going to scrunch right on that flat edge and pinch it between your fingers like that. You can go ahead and curl, like fluff your ribbon if you want. Open up your pipe cleaner. You're going to place the 6-inch piece in so that your ribbon tail comes straight out the middle of the piece of mesh you're laying it on. And you're going to twist that really tight. We do not want our ribbon tails slipping out. I usually fluff my ribbons after I put them on because, as you've seen with that piece I just did, they tend to get messed up as you're putting them in the pipe cleaners anyway. So for me, it's just easier to fluff them after I place them in. But you can do it the other way if you prefer. So we're just going to repeat that process. Scrunch the end. Do this 12 times, 1 in each of the pipe cleaners that are on the outside 2 rings. So we're still working on those same 12 pipe cleaners. Okay. Remember to pull them tight because you want to be able to fluff this, pull on it, and not have it come out. Okay, so now at this point you should have all of your mesh in, rotating between the 2 collars, and you should have all of your 6-inch pieces of mesh in, and it should look like that. Okay, now I'm going to come in like I did on the first half here, and I'm going to use this mint green ribbon and this dark green ribbon, and I'm going to rotate those. Now these will be 12-inch pieces. You're going to need 6 of the light green, 6 of the dark green for the base, and you're going to leave them at 12 inches, dovetail both ends the way that I showed you to dovetail, and then you're just going to rotate your collars. So here I have left off with light green we need to put a dark green. Again, left at 12 inches. Both of these are 1.5 inch ribbons. Actually, all 3 ribbons we've used so far are 1.5 inch. This dark green came from Craft Outlet, and the light green came from Sam's Club. It's part of their spring collection. Okay, oh, I forgot to show you. You're just going to scrunch your ribbon up the middle, V it back towards yourself, lining up your 2 ends down here, so it'll look like a V. And then you're just going to place that in over top of each 6-inch piece of ribbon so that it V's around that 6-inch piece. This way you can see your 6-inch ribbon and the 12-inch piece you just put in. You can see all 3 pieces of that ribbon. I feel cold air. Okay, and then cut off your pipe cleaner and push that extra little piece down inside and give it a squeeze to secure your ribbons. Now we've done dark green, we're going to do light green. Now I just wanted to mention real quickly, since we had a light green mesh and a light green ribbon, light green mesh, light green ribbon, I chose to do the light green on the black and white and the dark green on the light green just for more contrast and even distribution of the light green throughout the wreath. We're going to repeat the same process all the way around. Scrunch the middle, V it back towards yourself, place it in over top of the 6-inch piece. I give it 3 or 4 twists. I'm not adding anything else to these pipe cleaners at this point, so we clip it off, push the extra down in and squeeze it. Okay, now we're back to dark green. It off, push it down in and squeeze to tighten it, and fluff out your ribbon tails. To do that, I usually arch it out down next to the pipe cleaner and then just curl my ends out. Okay, now we need light green. It back towards ourselves. Fluff out the ribbon tails. And now we've got one more to do. We have light green and light green, so we need a dark green. And here you will see when you put in your last piece of ribbon, kind of like when you put in your last piece of mesh, every other piece is overlapped, but here both green pieces are on the top. So for here, you know, for example, you have a dark green underneath, a dark green on top, a light green underneath, a light green on top. So we want to keep this consistent, so we will just pull this light green over top of that, so we have the same pattern all the way around with all of our ribbon tails. Okay, and now that we have finished that we're completely done with the bottom row and those 12 pipe cleaners on the outside, and we're ready to start working on the 6 pipe cleaners on the inside. So we're just going to reach in here and pull those to the outside. Go ahead and do all 6 at one time so they're ready for you to start adding your materials to for your next layer. Now on this wreath, I'm using this beer sign. It says Happy St. Patrick's Day at the top, and it has a cute little bell, and it says ring for a beer. I like this sign. I'm not a big fan of beer, but I know that beer is something that's popular for St. Patrick's Day, particularly the green beer or whatever. So I thought this might be a design that somebody out there would really like. My point of that though is if you don't like that sign, You can use this design and these colors as your base for any sign. So if you have a St. Patrick's Day sign you like or love and want to use, you can always substitute the sign. You're not obligated to do the same sign. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I got all my pipe cleaners to the outside now. We pulled them to the outside so that we can keep building our wreath base up around the top. I think I mentioned our overall design will be 24 inches or 25 inches wide. But by layering on top like this, we end up with a depth of about 5 to 6 inches. Okay, so now we're going to just come in again with a layer of mesh. And I'm going to continue to rotate these 2 bottom colors that we used also on the top. So to do that, we're going to do the same method. We're going to cruffle them. And as you can tell, this mesh really sticks to itself and it frays. So if you're using this mesh, it's good to do the cruffle method because you fold under those cut edges, which keeps them protected from further fraying once you complete your design. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just as a reminder, put your clip. Same thing on the other end. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I do my curls kind of tight when I do this method. Turn your curls face down, scrunch down the middle, pinch your 2 sides together, and then you have what looks like a bow. Now on this one, I'm going to go ahead and lay on this layer the finished edges to the right and the left. And it looks like when you place it in this way, it looks like you're placing little bows all the way around your design. So it'll look like this. Do not pull too tight when you put the second layer of mesh on. That's different from the base. On the base, you want to make it really tight. Up here, you do not want to pull too tight or you'll sink all this mesh down to the wire base and you'll lose that in your design. Okay, so we did the black and white. Now we want the lime green. And I chose these mesh colors because my sign has both black and white and lime green. And then I have the dark green ribbon, which is also in my sign, so it kind of pulls all my colors together. And I prefer to stick with a 3-color scheme. So I have black, green, and white, which works perfectly to stay with my 3 main colors. Again, remember, finished edge to the right and to the left. Don't pull your pipe cleaner too tight. Just 1 twist, because we're going to add some ribbon tails in there as soon as we get all these in. Again, you're just rotating the collars. Pull it too tight. Oh, here's my scissors. I have a piece of fray here, so I'm just going to take my scissors and cut that off. We don't want to pull on it or we'll just cause more unraveling. So we're back to the lime green. And remember, you're working on those 6 inner pipe cleaners now. So on this top layer, you will need 3 of the lime green and 3 of the black and white. Again, it's 10-inch wide, and I cut the pieces 16 to 17 inches. That's the same for both the base and the top. So on the base, you had 6 of each color. So it's for the whole wreath, it's 9 of the green and 9 of the black and white. Back to black and white. 2 more to go, and then we'll do our second layer of ribbon. Or I'm sorry, 1 more to go. This is kind of unique for a St. Patrick's Day design. I'm kind of liking the way it's coming together with the black and white contrast. Okay, and now we're going to do our top ribbons. These are, I decided to do our 2 primary ribbons on the top. And since I did the dark green and the light green, well actually, because my 2 primary ribbons are a dark green and a light green, that is why I chose to do the rotating of the light green and the dark green on the bottom, because it will blend very well with these that I'm going to be placing on the top. These are cut to 12-inch pieces. This Let's Cheer for Beers ribbon came from Craft Outlet. This ribbon, this light green with the beer mugs and leprechauns, this came from Amazon. And I have 6 12-inch pieces of each of these to do around the top. And I'm going to use these in every pipe cleaner, but I'm going to rotate the order that I put them in. I'm also going to place them in at 1 at a time so that I have more control on where my ribbon tail placements lay. So we're going to do it the same way we did that bottom. We're going to create these, just like this. I'm going to lay it in my first one. I'm going to give 1 twist because I'm going to get ready and come behind it with that other ribbon. Flip out my tails. Okay, now grab the other ribbon, scrunch down the middle, beat it back towards ourselves, and put it in here. I'm going to try to place these so that you can see all 4 of my ribbon tails. And this is all we're adding into this pipe cleaner, so we're ready to snip it off. Just like on the bottom, push it down in and squeeze. And then fluff your tails and move them around to get them to lay the way you want them to. Okay, now you like that. So now for the next one, I'm going to reverse them. So I put this beer one in first in this section. So in this section, I'm going to do the light green first. And I'm going to rotate like that all the way around. Okay. Give it 3 or, oops, nope, 1 twist, because we got another ribbon to put in there. See, I almost messed up. Now we're ready for our dark green beer ribbon. Sometimes when I change my patterns or layouts or designs, I get confused myself. I have to remind myself that I've changed it up. So now we'll twist it 3 or 4 times, clip off the excess, and push our pipe cleaner down in and give it a squeeze, and fix our tails to arch them outward and lay them the way that we want them to lay. Now I'm fanning these all to the outside. You can crisscross them and have some of them going to the inside if you want. I do that on some of my designs. Just for this design today though, I wanted to do something different. Okay, so we did the light green first last time. We'll do the dark green first this time. Arch my ribbon. Okay, now we need the light green on top of that one. Off, push it down in, squeeze, flip out our ribbons, dark green was first last time, so this time light green will be first. Just one twist on that first ribbon. I go ahead and fix my tails to arch up and outward the way I like for them to lay. Okay, now we're ready to put our dark green right on top of that. Remember, when you put your second one in, go ahead and twist it 3 or 4 times, because we're going to finish it off with that one, so we want to make it secure. Yeah, this is cute. I'm liking the way this is coming together. I like having my 2 primary ribbons around the top. They're going to lay right next to my sign that way. We did light green first, so we're going to do dark green first. Oops, one twist. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my light green on top of that dark green. Fingers, don't fail me now. And when you do this top layer, when you clip off your pipe cleaner, you're going to have less to clip off than you do on the bottom, and that's very normal. Because you've put, first of all, you've pulled that pipe cleaner up through all that material you placed on the bottom, and then you're layering more material down into that pipe cleaner, so the end that you cut off is going to naturally be shorter. Okay, we did dark green first last time, so on our last one here, we're going to do the light green first. Twist once, fluff out your ribbons, kind of try to place them about where you want them to be. And I do it so that I can place my other ribbon to come out to the side, kind of opposite. Let me turn it around so you can see. So that I can place one coming out to the side here, opposite of this one, and then another one coming down through here in between them. So I just have kind of 2 V's laying over top of each other. That way I can see all 4 ribbon tails. And it's a consistent pattern. 3 or 4 twists, snip it off, push the pipe cleaner down in and squeeze it, fluff out this ribbon that we just put in, and then once I fluff out the top ribbon, I always double check and make sure the bottom is where I want it in comparison to the one I just put in, which in this case it is. So this is what I was talking about with how I like them to lay. So I have light green here, dark green here, and then a dark green and a light green coming both down in the middle there. So that's what it looks like so far, nice and full and thick. We're going to add our sign, and I need to talk about how I prepared this sign to add, because it's different than my normal signs. This is a, it's actually probably more like a door hanger. This is what it came like. And it is from Big Lots, and this is a thicker, heavier wood than the MDF signs or the metal signs that I usually work with. It's much thicker, and you could potentially drill holes in a sign like this to attach it. I don't like to do that and damage the sign, because once my customer friend, family, whoever's getting this wreath is done using the wreath and they retire it and purchase a new one for St. Patrick's Day, they may want to still keep this sign and use it or repurpose it for something else, or attach a hanger back on it and use it by itself on their wall. So I don't like to drill holes through the signs. So instead, I have learned a trick where I can attach pipe cleaners to the back and make this very, very secure. I'm not sure if I mentioned, this sign came from Big Lots, and I did buy this last year, and I've not been to Big Lots in quite a while, so I'm not sure if they have it this year. But quickly, the way that I attach my pipe cleaners to this sign is I use E6000 glue, and I put a big glob each place I want to attach a pipe cleaner. That's my first step. I then take my pipe cleaners that I'm going to be using, I fold them in half, and then I pinch the end so that I have kind of like a V like that. And then inside of that glob of E6000, I place my pipe cleaner down, and I just kind of, without touching it, I kind of push the end down in by holding out here because I don't want to get my fingers in the E6000. Then I have some type of, whether it's a piece of material, ribbon, cloth, whatever you have, I've cut 4 small squares, or 1 for each pipe cleaner, a small section. Over top of my pipe cleaner and my E6000, I use my hot glue. I put a big glob of that, and then I take my ribbon and place over top of that. And then I have a finger protector that I use because you will burn yourself through the material. And I just press my material down, which is not going to work for me because I'm not actually gluing here, but I just press it down until I spread that glue out and get a real thin layer underneath the whole piece of material that I'm using so that it holds it down very well. E6000 sets up slowly. It takes it, I think it's 24 hours to cure completely. I did the back of this sign in advance of our live because I wanted to give it some time to start setting up. And the reason I use the hot glue is because it will set up and give me hold until the E6000 completely cures. I did this probably about an hour before the live, and as you can see, I already have a good hold. I can pull and pull and pull on that, and it's not going to come out. So this will give you a secure way to attach these without damaging your signs. Okay, now I am going to cut the top of this hanger off because I know I don't need that. And I haven't completely decided how I'm going to place this on the wreath. So we're going to experiment here a little bit and decide how we want to do that. I don't know if I'm going to leave it attached or cut it apart. Yeah, I think we might leave it attached, but we're probably just going to center it up right there. I kind of like that. So once we have it on there, we're going to take our pipe cleaners. Let me see if these are long enough. If they're not, nah, they're not long enough for my liking. So I'm going to show you another one of my tricks. Actually, I think I want that beer sign up more towards the middle because I want the mesh behind it to start to support the weight. That beer mug is very heavy. So I'm going to, I don't like the length of the pipe cleaners when I use just one. So I'm going to actually take another one, the one that I V'd a second ago for demonstration. I'm going to cut that in half, and I'm going to take one half, and I'm going to twist it around the end of this pipe cleaner. And I'm just going to twist it several times. I'm going to keep twisting until all that wire is completely wrapped around the other pipe cleaner, and it's nice and tight. By doing that, you can then pull, again, very hard, and it's still secure. Those are not going to slip apart. That wire is going to hold together. So again, we'll do the same thing on this side. Extend our pipe cleaner. Make sure you twist it good though. You want to get a good tight twist. If you just twisted it 2 or 3 times, it would probably pull apart. I haven't experimented with that, but I'm thinking it wouldn't be as secure. Okay, so now those are much longer. Going to be much easier for me to feed down to the wireframe underneath. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, it's good and secure. So I am going to go ahead and separate these signs, because now that I determined my beer mug is too heavy to sit off-centered, I'm going to rethink how I place it, because I don't want my beer mug to sink down into the design. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut all that ribbon off. And then let's see if I want to center it or put it off center. I think I'm going to put it on the side, and then put this at the top here, and I might make a bow to go right here on the other side. Maybe even move it down just a hair and move this over just a hair and put our bow right in there. Liked it in the middle because I didn't want to cover up all this beer ribbon that I used. Let's just see. I think I'm going to go in the middle. Maybe I can make it secure enough here. I'm going to go with my original plan and see how it works out. So I'm going to feed my pipe cleaners down to the wire frame. I'm going to wrap them around the inside two rings on the wire frame. Oops, and I accidentally did 3 rings, so I'm going to move this one. I like to stay on the 2. Said in my last video, I think this is the hardest part of the whole wreath. You look under here and see if I can find my pipe cleaners. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, there it's fed down through all the way. I'm going to give this a couple twists, and then I'm going to do the other side before I tighten it down completely. this is a bit of an experiment because this is not a type of sign that I use frequently. So I hope you guys don't mind experimenting with me a little bit. I've done these thicker signs, but just the weight of this one and the way that it's divided into two parts is presenting me a challenge. And then also I had a preconceived way that I wanted this to work out. So we're going to see if we can make it happen. I'm just going to give it a few twists again because I might adjust placement. Upward. I have a couple pieces of green mesh here, so I'm going to actually try to do a little trick here to put more support behind that beer sign so that I can push it up where I want it. I don't like it sitting that low on my design. So I'm going to grab a few pipe cleaners. Again, I'm going to make one really long one by twisting the ends together. And if this is not long enough for what I want, I will do another one. And I'll show you how I'm going to fix my dilemma here in the middle. So I'm just going to push that sign down out of my way. I am going to take this end of this pipe cleaner, I'm going to run right across the middle of this, and I'm going to attach this. Maybe I can turn it over and show you. Whoops, forgot I didn't attach that. So this will be easier to show you. I'm going to run this right across the middle of my frame in the back. Like this. I'm going to actually go through 2 bars because I think that'll make it a little more secure. Like that. And then I'm going to twist it around itself multiple times, starting on one side, and then I'll go to the other side because I want to be sure to be able to pull that tight. I'm going to need this tight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some mesh to this to give me filler in the back here so that I can place my sign where I want it. Okay. I'm going to actually come under the crossbar here because I think that'll make it more secure. I'm going to pull it tight, then I'm going to twist, keeping it pulled tight. And now I have just kind of like a bar there that I can attach mesh to. Hadn't planned this as part of the video, but this is an extra lesson and one that I haven't showed on video before, so that's good. Okay, and I have some of this dark green here. It's going to basically be behind the sign because it's just filler, and since I already have this cut, I think I'm going to go ahead and use it. I'm going to take 2 or 3 pieces here and see how much I think I need. I'm going to turn this back over. Start by making a crumple. Now we don't, we're gonna have to add a pipe cleaner to our cruffles to attach to that bar that we just created across there. So what I'm gonna do is take a half of a pipe cleaner. You don't even really need that. Probably could make it smaller. I'll let you know in just a second as soon as I attach this. I'm going to twist it on here really tightly to hold that mesh together. And now I'm going to take these two ends, and yeah, half a pipe cleaner probably is advisable because that gives you more room to work with. And I'm just going to go all the way to the left here, and I'm going to attach it around. I'm going to push this up and push it over because I want to try to fit 3 pieces in there to give me more stability. And then I'm just twisting it to attach it the same way we did to the wireframe. I'm going to give it a bunch of twists. And then I'm just going to do the same thing, twist it around this and push it down in so the sharp edges are not sticking out. Okay. I think I'm going to do 3 of those. I guess I could call this design on the fly. Okay. Oops. We need a half a pipe cleaner. So fold it in half and cut it. Oh, guys. Should have done that before I did the cruffle. Wrap it around, pull it to the back so that your ends are kind of even, and then I'm gonna actually just pull this forward so I can get it real tight, a real tight twist. That also forces my mesh upward. Okay, so put it down in here around that pipe cleaner we put across the middle, and I'm gonna flip it over again. Because I want to, before I twist it on there, I want to scrunch it over. Twist it a bunch of times. Again, wrap around our wire that we created and push it down inside so it's smooth, no rough edges. Okay. And then I've got room here for 1 more. And as you can see, that's just giving us a nice filler that I'm going to be able to rest my sign on so I can put it where I want it. And I'm just doing ruffles the same way we did the whole rest of the wreath for this part, or cruffles. And then taking my pipe cleaner and wrapping around, getting it even in the back the best I can while holding it all together in my hand. Pull these 2 forward so you can get a nice tight twist. And twist it 3 or 4 times. And then remember where you're supposed to place it. I think we're over here. I'm getting confused because I keep flipping it upside down. Yep, right here. Push it down there to where we're going to twist it on. I'm going to turn it back over. Now I'm going to have to adjust all my ribbon tails after all of this extra flipping and tossing, but that's okay. Push that down in there, twist it on really well. And all we're doing basically is just filling in this hole that was in the middle. So when I place that heavy beer sign on there, it's not going to fall through. And I can put my placement where I want it on my design instead of having to try to replace it or figure out a different way that I'm not really happy with. Okay, so I'm making sure no sharp edges. So now we have filled that in. I think 3 is going to be enough to do it. I'm pulling my mesh that is around the outside upward just so that that's visible. I'm going to detach the sign, which is why I didn't twist it all the way down and cut it off, because I knew I probably wasn't going to be happy with that placement. Okay. Okay. And now I can move my sign up to where I really wanted it. Fix my tails, or at least most of them. Oh, we really didn't mess it up too bad. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so I want my beer sign about right here. Let's pull these back out. And then I want this bell to be right above my beer right there. So now we're ready to place it in. The sign's not falling through. Now we're going to work down through all this mesh to the base. Wrap these pipe cleaners around the inside 2 wires, or 2 rings. Make sure when you're doing this part, this is something I've never mentioned, that you're bringing your pipe cleaners straight out and wrapping around that wire ring so that your sign placement stays where you want it. Because if you pull it at an angle, your sign's going to slide down. If you pull your pipe cleaners up this way, that's going to move it upward. So make sure you're trying to come straight out from where you want your sign to rest. Okay. There we go. I finally got it around those rings, so now I'm just going to twist it. I'm not going to pull the sign too tight because I don't want to sink it down in too far into my design. I want it to float on top. And at this point, I'm happy with where it's at, so I'm going to go ahead and give this 10 twists or so, and then cut off the excess. Okay. And then wrap your end of the piece that you just cut around this ring here and poke those sharp ends up into the inside of your frame. Again, we're avoiding having sharp edges that will poke somebody or scratch a door. Okay, just like that. And now we can do the other side. We've got some fraying. I'm going to remove that. This is why I like my pipe cleaners or my wire or whatever I'm attaching my sign with to be very long. It does make this process easier of running down through all this mesh. So I just want to look at it real quick and make sure that it's still centered. I think it's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a bunch of twists, secure it in there. I'm twisting it so the sign is held on tightly, but not pulling it so tight that it sinks down in all of my mesh. Okay, just about got that. I made a mess cleaning by cutting these. When you cut these are Dollar Tree pipe cleaners, and when you cut them, you get this everywhere. So I made a mess with that, but that's okay. So let me wrap around the inside ring and then push it up inside, and we'll be ready to attach the other piece of the sign, and we'll be done. Okay. I'm going to see if these might be long enough, because they're going to kind of just go straight down without extending them. We'll decide here in a minute. We're going to try to center this the best we can above our beer. this is going to be long enough without extending it since we're going straight down to the wire frame. And I'm just going to twist a couple times to keep it in place there. I'm not going to secure it completely until I get this side down through and then determine if it's where I want it to lay and how I want it to lay. Probably right about there. So I probably need to come down right through here. And again, same with the other side when you're placing this. Make sure, like in this instance, I want to come straight down to the wire, because if I come to this side, it's going to pull it this way. If I go to that side, it's going to pull it that way. So I want to try to just go straight down with my pipe cleaners to the wire frame. And let's see, does that look pretty even? I shift it this way a little. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like it. Twist it down, cut off the extra. There's not really a lot of extra because it was just a small piece to begin with. And I'm going to wrap it around the ring, push the sharp edge to the inside, and now I'll come over here and do this side since I didn't finish it off because I wanted to get my placement first. Twist. Oh, did I shift it? There we go. Wrapping it around the wire. So I like that. The one thing I see, I have a lot of mesh around here with no ribbon. So I'm going to actually go around and just adjust my ribbons to kind of fill in that void space. And then this design will be all done, you guys. I'm not going to quite make them an X. I'm still going to kind of keep my V pattern, but just move these in a little bit to frame around my sign. Give these a little bit more of an arch since they're kind of meshed down by that part of the sign. Almost done. Okay, I think I like that. Okay, so let me know what you guys think. Here's our finished sign. When we hang this, we're going to want to make sure that our bell is positioned right, so we might have to mess around with the mesh to get the bell to lay the way we want, but there it is. Let me know what you think. Any suggestions or feedback is welcome, and I appreciate you guys watching another video with me, and hopefully tomorrow we'll get back to some Easter and spring designs. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful evening.